I said I'm not French, and in Sweden I can assure you it's the elite that goes to law school. And I also just wanted to point out I'm actually also a U.S. lawyer, and just to your point that you made earlier about there being kind of no ethical education, I just have to comment that actually every second year I do have to do 4 hours of ethics as part of the the U.S. bar. So there is that continuing education, which you can value or not. Most of us watch videos that are not always very entertaining to meet those requirements. But anyway, so Mr. President, everyone, I of course have to start by saying how extremely proud and happy I am to be here today, because this has been a long journey for all of us together. And I also wanted to say it's wonderful to see, because Ecla must be doing something very, very right, because I've seen so many former presidents and so many former officers of Ecla that I've worked with throughout the years. And I'm not sure any of us actually are independent of Ecla. And in thinking about today, I realized that I've actually worked with Ecla, with many of you here in the room, for half of Ecla's life. So that's at least a decent period of time. Thank you. And it's been a great journey. I mean, I've learned a lot about the regulation of in-house lawyers and legal privilege in different countries. I've often spent late nights trying to understand various strange laws all over the place. And as we've heard today, it's of course not always very clear what lawyers do, how their role is defined. It varies very much, and it's really a challenge to map out all these different rules and figure out common principles and so on. And I have to refer to a story that Philippe said earlier today in his opening talk. I'm also asked by my children what I do for a living. My answer is much more boring than yours. I tell them I help people solve their problems, whereby one of my daughters borrowed my glasses and said, "Mommy, now I'm a lawyer. Shall I get your cat out of the tree?" So it's not always clear. Anyway, we're here today to present to you the Advisory Council. And of course, this is part of really looking to the future, looking to, as has been mentioned, what Ecla can do going forward, and how Ecla best can leverage its power and leverage all the expertise that I think is really out there available to you. And what I was going to do today was very briefly take you through the key principles of the Advisory Council as we've thought of them to date, and then also give you some ideas of what the Advisory Council can do. I can tell you, though, that the Advisory Council is perfectly coordinated, because you basically did my entire speech already, so I can be more brief than I had intended. The golden rules are already out there. But I will just touch on a few of the key principles or golden rules. Of course, the idea is to get cutting-edge expertise in a variety of different fields. Lawyers, of course, probably consultants, policy experts, judges were mentioned. I mean, I think the idea is to really gather expertise in many different areas, and especially, of course, finding people who have shown a commitment to the in-house lawyer profession. Diversity was mentioned, diversity both geographically and in the expertise. We're in the process of defining a kind of simple set of rules based around the ones you just heard that will kind of govern this, and that each Advisory Council member will agree to, and that will also set out how members are nominated and appointed. You mentioned the pro bono basis, the fact that, of course, these experts will be identified and have access to the Ecla membership and community, and hopefully be part of your family. Moving on to my second point, how can the Advisory Council help you? I mean, some things have already been mentioned. Many of us work together already on papers and conferences and so on. It's really, I think, up to you also to help us find the right people and also help us find the right projects. But just some ideas. I mean, again, cutting-edge expertise in areas that are important to you. Engagement in the public debate. We're all out there writing articles, speaking at conferences. We can put your message forward. We can help you organize events and organize discussions around topics having to do with the in-house lawyer role and your independence. We can, of course, help you monitor key developments, share information, share expertise within the Ecla community. We all, of course, have our networks and our contacts. I'm a partner in a big U.S. law firm with lots of, former government officials in the U.S., in Asia, and China, and so on. I mean, we have lots of different contacts, lots of different networks that we can offer to help you work through. Of course, that can be valuable. We've mentioned already some links to the U.S. and to issues there, linked to document discovery over here, which are some issues that we've been heavily involved with, for example. It's also been mentioned, I mean, we can help you with government officials, we can help you with media, with various trade associations, and so on. I mean, there are lots of networks out there that I think are relevant in different ways to Ecla. We can help you as facilitators and advisors when you go see authorities, when you go see the European Commission, for example. And again, we can help you develop position papers. The white paper on independence and the model code of ethics are good examples of things that we can, the advisory council can help you work on. Now, finally, the advisory council members, of course, will contribute different things. I just wanted to end by just noting a couple of areas that I think from my own expertise are interesting for Ecla, and I think are areas where the advisory council could contribute expertise and where Ecla might want to be active at the EU level, and they've been mentioned by some already today. One area I think is the pressure of compliance. I mean, it's not news to any of you that there are all these frameworks putting obligations on the General Counsel and on the in-house team to have systems in place for compliance. We have anti-bribery rules, FCPA, data protection, Sarbanes-Oxley, the list goes on. And I think that's an area where there's a tension also with the need to act independently, as was mentioned earlier. I think by Mr. Junge, that you need to, of course, act independently, and also there's often a need to give written advice that needs to be protected. So there's a difficult, I think, trend there where some advocacy work can be done. Secondly, I think you also mentioned the civil litigation side of all this, and I just wanted to mention there something I think is very interesting happening in the EU, which, of course, is the move towards an EU-level system of civil litigation. As probably many of you know, the European Commission just a few months ago came out with proposals for a directive on private damages litigation in antitrust cases, and also a recommendation for member states to adopt collective action mechanisms. And, of course, that brings the issue over to Europe potentially in the future. We might be moving towards an EU-level system of civil litigation, which also will include, to some extent, an EU-level system of disclosure and EU rules on privilege in that context. So I think that's something to watch, something to potentially also engage in. It takes time, as we know. These proposals have taken very, very long, but it is moving now, so that's an interesting area. And voila, that's it for me. Thank you.